So it's already July, but this is my first garden tour and pretty much my first garden ever in general. So I'm just gonna walk through what I'm growing this year and yeah, let's see what's going on. First, I have watermelon, which is probably what I'm most excited about. I've never seen a watermelon grow, so to see it growing from a flower to this is pretty cool. It's not huge, it's about, you know, the size of my hand, maybe a little smaller, but I'm excited to see it. It's the only one that's growing on these two vines. I have two plants, one here, and they've grown up. I had to clip the tops because they were getting too tall. It's about 6 feet. But it's the only watermelon that's growing, so I'm gonna cherish it. And next to it I have Asian melon plants, vines. And I do have a few of those growing. This is the biggest one, about the same size as the watermelon. And then I have, you know, another smaller one growing somewhere around here, right there. And several others. And I have this vine growing inside the garden bed. When you get inside, you can see it's kind of like an entrance, and then you're surrounded by plants. There's plants everywhere. So far from the neighbors, the most common question is, what are these tall plants? And because right now finally this first sunflower is bloomed, but before that they just look like giant plants and nobody knew what they were, so they're sunflowers. But when you get in here, inside here there are jalapeno peppers, which are like jalapeno peppers. They're just not spicy. They're not the not spicy version. And we grew those because we make salsa, and Stella doesn't really like spice. But they're starting to grow, you can see. It's kind of cool. And then next to that we have banana peppers, 6 banana peppers, and here we have the first one actually that is ready for picking. So I'm gonna do that now because I've been waiting for this. And it finally came. So let's try it. I'll show you what it looks like. I don't know if it's focused, but this is what the banana pepper looks like. It's the first one of the season, and I'm gonna try it. I love them. They're so fresh. And then I also have, I can save the seeds too for later to make more banana pepper plants. So I'm gonna just set it down so I can eat the plants. Eat the pepper later and save the seeds. We have garlic, which is gonna take a while to grow. I have these, which I'm really excited to see. This one's tiny, but the one behind it is a lot bigger. These are the Black Beauty tomatoes, and the tomatoes are starting to form here, you can see. But these tomatoes are actually like a dark purple black color, and they're supposed to provide lots of antioxidants and be really good for you, so I'm excited about that too. This is another tomato plant. I'm not sure which kind. I have eggplants that I've grown from seed. I have this eggplant I actually bought from Whole Foods because none of my seeds were actually coming along fast enough. So I bought this plant and then the other ones took off. But yeah, they're growing pretty well. You can see there's one here also ready for picking, and I'll do that eventually, probably today or tomorrow. I've got a bunch of small beets. Then they're pretty small because they're being shaded by the eggplant and the sunflower. Look at how massive these sunflower leaves are, so they're kind of shading out everything else. I have several others. I have eggplant that's also ready to be harvested underneath, but this one here is just starting to grow. More tomatoes. I have these pink Russian tomatoes, or pink something tomatoes. I don't know what kind they are, but they're pink tomatoes. They're just tiny still. A little bit of thyme, which is not grown all that well, but I like using thyme in cooking. So this radish, I let a few of them Most of them are already pulled, but I let a few of them go to seed. So this is one of the ones that went to flower and will eventually go to seed. I have broccoli and Brussels sprouts back here, which are doing terribly. So I need to experiment a little bit more with that, maybe in the future. Celery, which was grown from a celery plant from the grocery store, which is kind of interesting because we ate the whole celery and then we just had the stump and just put it in water and it grew back to this, so we're gonna have more celery from that. Bunch of beets that we've been using for juicing, and some of them, they're all pretty much ready to be harvested, but yeah, they look good. They taste delicious too. These are bull's blood beets. We have garlic growing here. Bunch of lettuce, which is also probably ready to be pulled because it's July and so it's really hot for the lettuce. Bunch of carrots. Let me see if I can pull one of these up. I'll just pull a random one. Tiny little carrot, but kind of cool to see it. Anyways, another tomato plant. It's just waiting to grow. And then when you go around the other side of the garden, you have these sugar snap peas, which are like my favorite snack ever. They're delicious. And you can see these are the last of them because they're more of a cool weather plant. But this is like the last of the sugar snap peas. And I love these so much. They're delicious to just pick right off the plant and eat. We also have a bunch of cucumbers, and the cucumber vine was like taking over, so we had to cut it back a lot. We've pulled bunch of cucumbers off of it already. Let's see if there's some growing, like one right here. It's kind of weird shape. Probably more down here, but it's just so thick we have to thin it out. So every one of these flowers is probably going to become a cucumber if it's pollinated. So we get a lot of bees, which is awesome to get that many bees. I think because the cucumbers are so big, this plant has suffered. It's a peanut plant, and Stella got it because she wanted to try growing. So I'm not sure if we'll get anything from it. It flowered. I don't know how it works exactly, so we're just experimenting. Little baby cucumbers here. More cucumbers, another tomato. This is the only tomato plant that we bought like as a seedling, and it's flowering now. But the rest of the tomatoes we started from seed, and this is the only one we bought as a seedling. It's supposed to be like a slicing tomato. And then, like I said, we have the sunflower, which you can't see very well from here, but it's growing. These are massive. They're called mammoth sunflowers. And on this side, the opposite side of the garden bed, we have tomatoes. I have a different variety of tomatoes, lots of different kinds, not lots, but several different kinds. Starting with the Russian purple tomatoes, you can see them growing here. I have several of those plants. And then I have Roma tomatoes, and I have some like glacier tomatoes. I'm not sure what those are, but we got some seeds for that, so they're all growing. And then I have some cherry tomatoes at the end. And like I said, I also have pink tomatoes and the black beauty tomatoes, which are right here, and I'm waiting for them to turn black eventually so we can try them and see what they look like. And yeah, just got our row of tomatoes here, so I'm excited. Once you get outside of the raised bed, I had so many tomato suckers that were growing, I just decided to plant them all around this little area, and they're all growing. Some of them are about to fruit, they're flowering now. I have our rain barrel we installed. We have another one over there, and then over on this side we have Swiss chard. I had an extra few peppers, so I planted those out here. The rabbits are crazy, so I expected them to eat them, but they didn't get eaten, so I'm really happy about that. We're gonna juice this week probably. And then I have a Swiss chard from last year that is going to seed now, and we're gonna collect the seeds so we can plant some more next year. Also have this Asian melon plant that they just grew. I planted several seeds in that one square and those 2 squares, and so many sprouted, so I planted these all over the place wherever there was space, and it's gonna grow up this, and we'll have lots of melons this year. This is a 12 by 10 foot raised garden bed, and we did a little inlet so we can walk in there and garden from pretty much any angle and have access to all the plants. We decided to use the square foot gardening method, and that made it really easy to begin with the organization of plants and where we want to put things, because we don't know much. This is our first garden, so the square foot gardening method is a really good method for beginner gardeners. And the other thing that we did was we looked up companion planting, which tells you what plants can grow well next to each other and what doesn't grow well, what not to plant near each other. So by doing that, that really helped keep our garden healthy and looking good. And so I'm really happy with the result. We're excited to see how much food we get out of it. We're already amazed by what has come and how things grow. So this is a new experience for our family.